Welcome back, fellow Patreon members. If you are a new Patreon member, thank you for supporting the Consciousness Awake YouTube channel. Really appreciate all of you. This is video number 2 of the weekly videos that I plan on doing on Patreon. What's great about Patreon is that eventually here in future videos, I know I can be completely uncensored. I can speak my mind, use my freedom of speech without having any consequences for it. So that's really great. So I'll look forward to doing some uncensored kind of videos. And of course, doing these astral projection videos, astral projection workshop videos. So in the last video, I was just spending some time talking about 4D, 5D, etheric planes, astral planes, just kind of getting into that whole thing, because part of becoming very successful and growing with your consciousness exploration is to still kind of get a sense of kind of what's going on multidimensionally too, and grow that way also, along with your own inner work. In your own inner journey and pathway with your own experiences. So in this video, I want to spend some time talking about visualization technique, talking about a really good OBE exit technique to try to practice when you find yourself in sleep paralysis or in a vibrational state while you're meditating. And so as you can imagine, as you probably already know, a lot of consciously aware out-of-body experiences where where you have your memory recall and you know what's going on, you're aware of it, is happening when your body is asleep and your mind's awake, or not brain. I should say body, brain asleep, consciousness awake. That's what I should say. And then you're just consciously aware of what's going on in that given moment. So this is a technique that I would recommend practicing. This works really good. This is something that I've done off and on for over 20 years and found a lot of success with it, especially when you practice it. Just like anything in life, you have to practice to make better with anything. We can never become masters or perfect at anything, but we can always become better and better at something, or more consistent with something. Or at least more consistent on how we guide our own energies too, and that's important. So I just have this white piece of paper out, just as a example for something, and I'm going to grab this pyrite. Okay, this little pyrite that I have. It's pretty small. It's only a couple inches across or so. Kind of looks like a little asteroid, right? When you look at it, the features on it, the rocky features, kind of looks like an asteroid with all the little pyrite, reflecting off of a bunch of different angles on the little piece of asteroid. But so this is a piece of pyrite, and so what I use this a lot of times, plus a couple other things, for this visualization out of body exit technique that works for me. And so what I do is what I did was I found a white table, so I'm just using this white piece of paper. This represents just a white tabletop, a white table, anything, white floor, anything that's just white, okay? And then I took this pyrite. This was, some time ago. And then I put it on top of that table. So it was on just a white surface. Okay? So that way, I'm visualizing just a basic tabletop, something it's sitting on, right? It doesn't have all these different colors. It's nothing crazy and intricate, abstract. It's just simple. A white tabletop, floor. And then I put the pyrite on top of that white surface at just a certain angle. The angle that I use for this piece is right here. That's the angle I use. It's about right there. and I'll place it on the white surface, and then I'll actually like stare at it for a couple minutes. I'll actually look at it. I'll really soak in the visual image imprint of this item. And so what I do too is I'll just stare at it and observe it. Let me sit back from the microphone. I'll stare at it and observe it, and then I'll turn off the lights or put a blindfold over my eyes or just make it dark for a second and just have it all pitch black and still try to hold the image of what I'm looking at in my mind's eye, in my pineal gland, in my third eye. I'll keep the image of that white surface with the angle of this pyrite that I was staring at, just to memorize it. And I would do that off and on. So I'd have the light on and stare at it for a minute or two, soak in what I'm observing, and then just turn the light off, make it dark in the room, or again, like I said, put some kind of blindfold over your eyes, sleeping mask, whatever you have. And then I would maintain that visualization of that image, but in my mind's eye. So then what I would do is I would just practice that. And once I felt like I could really have really pinpoint that visualization of that object in my mind's eye, then I would go to just lay down or whatever, recliner chair, meditation mat, bed, lay down, just meditate. Just meditate. Do what I always do, breathing combined with getting the body into deep relaxation before getting into the initial phases of a astral projection. So what I would do is, as I got relaxed enough, just some breathing, then I would hold that image of the pyrite in my mind's eye. It's sitting on the angle that I observed it at, and sitting on just that white surface, white tabletop, whatever you choose. And I'm literally just, that's all I see, That's all I see. And then what I do is I move my that visualization of what I'm seeing in my mind's eye. I shift my awareness point to the location. So I'll have the white table or whatever with the pyrite, and it'll be, let's say, 10 feet away from wherever my physical body is during the meditation. On a coffee table, in another room, other side of your bedroom, whatever. Keep it simple. And so what I would do then is, as I would get deeper into my meditation, relaxation, feeling some numbness and maybe some vibrational state, the vibrations are kicking on, getting to vibrational state essentially. As I'm feeling the vibrations, that's when I would practice shifting my awareness point to whatever location you put your item in. For me, the pyrite piece, right? And then I would visualize just essentially, observing it, but from the other location. So I'm not, shifting my consciousness or astral projecting into any inanimate object or the pyrite. I'm just shifting my consciousness to where I'm just observing it. I'm next to whatever it is that's in my mind's eye, in that other space in the room or house. And so what happens is sometimes you can really trigger a astral projection reflex that is a really clean exit. If you do it just right, what happens is you barely hear any chaotic noises or any crazy frequency disturbances or different sound currents and all this stuff. You'll feel the vibrational state and everything like a lot of times, like you usually do as you're getting ready to do an out-of-body exit technique. But what happens is it's almost like the visualization technique within itself. As you do that, and all you're doing is just holding the thought of whatever that was in your mind's eye as you're falling into deep meditation. And then with the combination of the vibrational state and awareness, shifting your point of awareness to wherever that location is of that item that you put in your house, like when you do that, you sometimes will just literally just like find yourself in that new location looking at that object, but then you'll notice that the environment isn't exactly 100% duplicate copy of this reality construct that we're in, the physical world. It's like a simulated copy of it, and there's some like minute little differences. What I notice a lot is maybe if there's a hallway, the hallway might be a different size or depth. One of the walls or the ceilings of the hallway might be on a different angle, a few degrees tilted a certain way. Not an exact, copy of this physical world. So then I'll just basically find myself in that etheric plane, in the real time zone, etheric plane, in the etheric body, just standing there looking at whatever it is. Also, what I like doing is my pyrite is, let's say, 10 feet away from my body, but it's right next to a light switch, like right underneath a light switch. Where the location is. And so once I find myself in the etheric body in that real time zone and I'm looking at the pyrite on the table, maybe even kind of look over a little and notice my physical body in the bed or the meditation mat or recliner chair, but then there's a light switch right there, and so I can test if I'm out of body or not by just taking my energy body hand and trying to turn on the light switch or flick it on and off, or to move it, just to move it. Because once you go to the actual light switch, you can kind of feel the switch, but it's almost like you just don't have enough density, enough strength to actually affect and move that switch up and down. So your energy body fingertips, let's say your hand, will kind of just go through it. It'll almost seem like you're doing it at first. It'll trick you, but then after you carefully observe the light switch, you'll realize that you can't really do anything with the switch as you can with your physical hand. So then that's kind of like the point of where I almost like in a way OBE reality check or reality check while I'm in that out-of-body state, just to make sure that I am out-of-body. That the exercise, the technique that I just described in this video, that it all just worked out. Because sometimes when you have really clean, very smooth transitions of consciousness shifting into your energy body, sometimes it can even fool yourself or trick you into thinking you're still just in your body, until you test the environment and try an experiment. But so I just wanted to share that video today here on Patreon. So this is kind of like, I guess, the kind of a workshop video number 2 or whatnot. Eventually I'll probably change the titling the videos and, have numbers on them so people can keep track. I might do that next week. But I look forward to doing another video next week on Patreon, and again, for anybody who's signing up for Patreon as a way to support the Consciousness Awake channel and the work I'm doing and trying to do and want to do for many years to come in the future of my life here in this physical reality as a human being, I really appreciate your support, and I hope that you stick with me, because I have a lot of big plans as I spend more energy and more time and invest more of myself into the Consciousness Awake channel and the Patreon and this Patreon. All right, guys, peace. Talk to you soon.